All right, welcome in everybody to another deep dive. And today we're going deep into the world of a single mom who's bringing her followers along for the ride.
Yeah.
She calls them her fierce fam. And honestly, I think she's on to something because
Oh, yeah.
this is more than just errands and school lunches. There's like this whole emotional roller coaster
Yeah.
that she takes her viewers on.
Hmm.
We're watching her kids grow up. We're seeing her deal with the ups and downs of dating. And she's super open about her weight loss journey and all the challenges that come with that, all through her YouTube vlogs.
It's interesting, because at first glance, it seems like just another mom influencer juggling kids, errands, and workouts.
Exactly.
But the more you watch,
Right.
the more you realize there's this deeper layer here. It's like she's really craving that connection with her audience, but at the same time, she's struggling with those boundaries, like how much to share, how much to hold back.
Totally. And the way she uses humor to kind of deflect from some of the heavier topics.
Yes.
So fascinating. I mean, you can tell she's going through some stuff,
Yeah.
but she always finds a way to make you laugh about it.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes her so relatable to so many people. She's not afraid to show her flaws, her frustrations, even her anxieties. She's just real.
She is. Okay, so let's get into the specifics. One of the biggest things that she talks about in her videos is her weight loss journey.
Hmm.
She's been very open about trying this new weight loss injection called Manjaro.
Yeah.
And she even mentions the doctor she sees in Washington, D.C. for it.
See, that right there is a great example of what we were just talking about, that blurring of boundaries. On one hand, she's being transparent about her weight loss methods,
Totally.
which can be empowering for viewers who might be considering similar options, right?
For sure.
But on the other hand, she's casually promoting medical tourism, which could be interpreted as an endorsement without her fully understanding or disclosing the ethical implications of it. It raises the question, how much responsibility do influencers have to their audience when it comes to these kinds of recommendations?
It's a slippery slope for
Yeah.
sure. And, she doesn't shy away from showing the hard parts of her journey either. We see her working out with a personal trainer.
Yeah.
Like, these are not easy workouts. And she's open about the challenges, like the mental struggle of staying motivated and all of that.
And that's where it gets tricky. She's trying to balance this message of self-improvement and body positivity, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, she's showcasing a very specific
Yeah.
and potentially unattainable standard of fitness.
Right.
Her viewers might be left feeling inspired, but they could also feel pressured to achieve this same level of intensity, especially if they're vulnerable to the idealized images that are so prevalent on social media.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, is she contributing to that culture of comparison and self-doubt, even unintentionally? Let's actually listen to a clip where she talks about her workout routine and how it's making her feel. She sounds incredibly motivated and committed to her goals around.
Yeah.
But I also hear a little bit of vulnerability there.
Yeah.
Like she's trying to convince herself as much as her viewers that she's on the right track.
Exactly. And that's what keeps people coming back for more. They see themselves in her struggles, her determination, her moments of doubt. It reinforces that parasocial relationship, that feeling of knowing and connecting with her on a personal level, even though it's all happening through a screen. By the way, for those unfamiliar, a parasocial relationship is that sense of intimacy viewers develop with media personalities, feeling like they truly know them.
Like they're living vicariously through her,
Exactly.
experiencing her highs and lows as if they were their own.
Right.
But, we have to remember what we're seeing is just a snapshot.
Right.
It's a curated version of her life.
Right. We only see what she chooses to show us. And that's a key part of understanding influencer culture. It's all about presenting an idealized version of reality.
Yeah.
But even within that carefully constructed narrative, these cracks of real life emerge.
Oh, absolutely.
Like her frustration during her recent trip to Ross.
Oh my gosh, yes. The infamous Ross Day.
Right.
She was talking about it for weeks leading up to it, like how she got all these amazing deals on housewares last year.
Hmm.
And then this year, total letdown. She couldn't find anything she wanted. The store was a zoo. And then, to top it all off, she left her car keys in the shopping cart.
That whole episode was so revealing. I think she genuinely believed she was sharing a helpful tip with her fierce fam, creating a sense of community by letting them in on this secret sale event. But it totally backfired when the event didn't live up to the hype, and her frustration was palpable. It raises the question, was she unintentionally promoting a retail event for Ross? And if so, was there any disclosure or partnership involved? That level of transparency is crucial, especially when influencers have the power to drive consumer behavior.
It's such a blurry line, isn't it? Where does genuine enthusiasm end and a marketing campaign begin? Let's hear her talking about Ross Day from last year and then her reaction to this year's experience.
Yeah.
The disappointment is so real.
Yeah.
It's like she feels personally betrayed by Ross.
Right.
And maybe even a little bit, like she let down her followers who took her recommendation.
Right. It's a reminder that influencers, even unintentionally, create expectations for their audience. And when those expectations aren't met, it can damage the parasocial bond they've worked so hard to build. It also exposes the performative nature of much of influencer culture, right?
Oh, for sure.
It's easy to be positive and enthusiastic when things are going well,
Yeah.
but how do you react when the cameras are rolling and life throws you a curveball? Her response to this Ross Day fail reveals a lot about her coping mechanisms and how she navigates those less than picture perfect moments.
And how she uses humor to deflect, right? Remember that little exchange with her daughter in the car after the Ross debacle?
Oh, absolutely. That's where we start to see the family dynamics at play.
Let's listen to that clip.
Mm.
It's like a little sitcom playing out in the car with the mom trying to keep it together while her daughter's teenage snark just adds another layer of humor to the whole situation. It's moments like these that make her feel so authentic, so relatable.
It reminds us that even influencers have those everyday moments of bickering with their kids, navigating traffic, and dealing with the general chaos of family life.
Yes.
But even in those seemingly unscripted moments, there's a level of awareness that the cameras are rolling, that these interactions are being consumed by an audience.
Right.
It blurs the lines between reality and performance, and it makes you wonder how much of what we're seeing is truly spontaneous versus carefully orchestrated.
It's that constant push and pull between authenticity and curation that makes this so fascinating. And it's about to get even more interesting because her son is on the verge of a major life change, heading off to college.
Yes, and that's going to bring up a whole new set of emotions for both the mom and her viewers.
So we left off with her son getting ready for this huge life change going off to college.
Yeah,
It's a big transition for any family,
huge.
but especially when you've been sharing so much of your life online, like she has. Her followers have practically watched him grow up.
It's true. I bet a lot of her viewers are feeling that, like a little bit of that empty nest feeling themselves.
Right, like they're sending their own kid off to college.
Exactly.
But before we get to all the emotions of him actually leaving for school, there's this other thing she mentions that I thought was super interesting.
Okay.
Remember when she talked about going to a doctor in Washington, D.C. for help with her metabolism?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It seemed like such a casual comment,
Mm-hmm.
but it really made me think about the influence she has
Mm.
and how her words can impact her viewers.
Absolutely. It's almost like a throwaway line, but she's inadvertently promoting medical tourism, which is a growing trend,
Right.
but it's not without its ethical concerns.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She's normalizing the idea
Yeah.
of seeking treatment outside of your local area, which could be really influential for people who are struggling with similar health issues.
Exactly. And it raises those questions about transparency, right?
Yeah.
Like, is she fully aware
Mm.
of the potential risks and benefits of medical tourism? Has she disclosed any partnerships or sponsorships related to this doctor or clinic?
Those are good points.
Her viewers might perceive this as a recommendation, even if it wasn't intended that way.
It really highlights the responsibility that comes with having this platform,
Oh, yeah.
and an audience that trusts you and your recommendations. Okay, so moving on to something a little lighter.
Okay.
Remember that whole bonnet incident at the gym?
Oh, yes. That was classic. It shows how even the smallest things can become these huge online controversies.
I know, right? She got so much flack for wearing a bonnet to the gym.
It's like, come on, people.
People were accusing her of not taking her fitness seriously.
Yeah, like she's not allowed to have a bad hair day.
Right. It's a reminder that even when you have this supportive online community, you're still opening yourself up to judgment and criticism.
Oh, yeah. And it shows the pressure these influencers face to present this perfect image, even when they're just trying to live their lives.
Exactly. Let's hear her address the Bonnetgate controversy and explain why she chose to wear a bonnet to the gym that day. I love how she owns it,
Totally.
She's like, listen, I'm a busy mom. I'm trying to get my workout in, and sometimes that means sacrificing a little bit of style.
It's so relatable.
I know. And by addressing it head on,
Yeah,
she's acknowledging the criticism, but also setting those boundaries.
for sure.
Like she's not going to conform to everyone's expectations all the time.
It's refreshing.
It is. It reminds us that influencers are real people.
Yeah.
They have bad hair days, they make questionable fashion choices, and they don't always have time to look perfect.
They're just like us.
Exactly. Okay, let's get back to her son's college journey.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I think we see a different side of her, a more vulnerable and emotional side.
I agree. The college signing day was such a turning point for them.
Hmm.
You could tell she was proud of him, but also maybe a little sad to see him go.
Totally. It's that bittersweet feeling so many parents experience when their kids start to become more independent.
Yeah, you're excited for them,
Yeah.
but there's that part of you that wants to hold on tight and protect them from the world?
And she lets herself feel all of those emotions. It makes her seem even more genuine.
Absolutely. And I think that's why her followers connect with her so much. She's sharing those universal experiences that we all go through.
Exactly. Let's listen to that clip from the signing ceremony where he announces that he's committed to Butler Community College in Kansas. You can hear the pride in her voice, but also that little catch,
Yeah,
like she's holding back tears.
it's a really powerful moment.
It is. It's that mix of joy and sadness that comes with watching your kid take this big step.
It really encapsulates parenthood, right? Like all the pride and also the bittersweet realization that their life is going to change and you won't be as involved as you were before.
It's true. And her followers are right there with her experiencing those emotions too.
It's amazing how she's built this community online?
It is. It shows the power of shared experiences, even if they're happening through a screen.
It's a reminder that even in this digital age, we still crave those authentic human connections.
Definitely. Now, as we head into the final part of our deep dive, we're going to see how she navigates this new phase of life as an empty nester, the evolving dynamics of her family, and of course, all the twists and turns of the social media world. All right, so as we wrap up our deep dive into the life of this fierce fam mom, we're seeing how she's handling this new phase with her son away at college. And it's definitely like a whole new chapter is unfolding, both in her life as an influencer and as a mom, trying to figure out this whole empty nest thing.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how she's adapting to this new normal. There's a sense of her rediscovering herself, trying new things, and even wrestling with some of I guess you could say, the downsides of influencer culture.
Yeah, and it's not all, sunshine and rainbows and sponsored posts.
Right, right.
Remember when she mentioned that thing about maybe boycotting Target?
Oh, yeah, that was interesting. It really shows how much power these influencers have and how their choices can have a real impact in the real world.
Exactly. And it raises questions about, how genuine everything is.
Oh, for sure.
Was she really upset about something Target did, or was it, some kind of strategic move to maybe appeal to a certain audience, or even was there a brand deal in the works with a competitor?
Right. Those are the kinds of things that people are starting to think about more and more,
Definitely.
especially as those lines between what's a real opinion and what's a paid promotion get blurrier and blurrier.
It's a good reminder that we can't just take everything we see on social media at face value.
Absolutely.
There's often a lot more going on behind the scenes than we realize.
Right. It's like they're creating this persona, this image that's meant to attract a specific audience.
And speaking of keeping it real, things didn't exactly go as planned on her latest Ross shopping trip.
Oh, that Ross trip. It was like a comedy of errors.
I know, right?
It seemed like she was so determined to relive the glory of Ross Day from last year,
Yes, she was.
but it just wasn't happening.
Not at all. Let's hear that conversation she has with her daughter in the car as they're driving away from Ross empty-handed. Her daughter is so funny. I love how she's like totally over it.
Yeah, she's just like, whatever, Mom.
I know. Like she's seen it all before.
It's a fun little peek into their family dynamic and a good reminder that behind all those perfect Instagram photos and the carefully edited vlogs, there's a real family there with their own quirks and their own little jokes and ways of interacting with each other.
And it's those little moments of realness that make her so relatable.
Oh, absolutely. Those unscripted moments are pure gold.
They are. And it's not just her kids who are finding their voices online.
Oh, right.
She announced that both of her daughters have started their own YouTube channels.
That's so interesting, right? It shows how influencer culture is spreading. It's like a ripple effect.
It is.
It's not just about individuals trying to become famous or make money anymore. It's families doing it together.
Yeah, supporting each other's channels, working on projects together.
It's like building a brand as a whole family.
It really is. It makes you think about, is it okay for kids to be involved in this world?
Yeah, that's a big question.
Are they old enough to really understand what it means to share their lives online?
Mm-hmm.
Are they being taken advantage of for views and subscribers?
Yeah,
It's a tough issue with no easy answers.
it really is. And it's something we should all be thinking about as we consume this content.
Yes, right.
We have a responsibility to be critical and consider the impact it might be having on everyone involved, especially when kids are in the picture.
Let's hear her give a shout out to her daughters and their new YouTube channels. Okay, So I hear the pride in her voice,
Oh, yeah.
but also maybe just a little hint of, her recognizing that this could be a good opportunity for her daughters.
Right, like using her platform to give them a boost.
Exactly. It reminds us that even in these seemingly genuine moments, there's still that business side of things that influencer marketing is always there.
It's a tough balance to strike, but she seems to be doing a pretty good job of it so far.
I think so too. She seems to be aware of the power she has,
Mm.
and the opportunities it creates for her and her family.
Yeah.
But she also seems to really care about connecting with her audience and being open about her life, the good and the bad.
She's not afraid to be vulnerable, which is refreshing.
It is. So, as we wrap up this deep dive,
Mm.
what have we learned? What stands out to you?
I think the biggest takeaway is that social media is just this incredibly complex world.
Hmm.
It's where everything is kind of mixed together, real life and carefully constructed images, personal stories that turn into products. It's hard to tell where one thing ends and another begins.
It's true. And yet, at the same time, it's clear that people are really craving those genuine connections.
So yeah, for sure.
They want to feel like they're part of something.
Absolutely.
And this mom influencer, with all her ups and downs,
Mhm.
she's created this space where her followers feel seen and heard and
Exactly.
like they belong.
And that's so important, especially in a world that can feel so isolating sometimes.
Yeah, it is. She reminds us that even with all the noise and chaos of the internet,
Mm.
we can still find those real human connections.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. I hope this has given you some things to think about, maybe even a new perspective on the world of influencers and the stories they're sharing.
Yeah, it's definitely more than meets the eye sometimes.
It is. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.